men fucking with me. I separated from an 18-year marriage in my early 40s. I'm 50 now. And the few men that I've dated, they were so undecisive. And the games they fucking play, seriously, man, you're in your late 40s, almost 50, don't fuck around. Like, seriously, don't play games. It's getting so fucking annoying. I'm so tired of this shit. I would have expected it to be easier as I got older. Men, stop fucking around with women, okay? Be honest, because you know what? TikTok, you're getting fucking older too, you know?
Welcome back to Get Well Soon, the red pill content of Welly F, aka Moriarty. Once again, I hope you're having a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time you're listening to this is okay with me. Hey, let me get right into it. Okay, look. I don't like to be picky. I never was truly a picky guy, but the fact of the matter is, as you start paying attention to patterns and signs more, you start realizing certain things just don't work to your benefit. In the past 7 to 10 years, I've realized that a common theme amongst women is, being social media addictive, painting their faces, the tattoos, there's just so many signs and patterns to me that point to a mentally disturbed, a jaded woman, a woman that you definitely would want to not ignore certain red flags. And once again, I don't want to be picky here, but for people listening to this video, you have to kind of you have to accept that modern women today, and it really doesn't, in my opinion, this goes for women under the age of 55 at this point, because I'm of the mindset that women of the dating age, women of the legal dating age today, they have adopted a certain ideology, and that ideology across the board doesn't matter if you're 19, it doesn't matter if you're 54. If you're single and available, then this is what the dating market has to offer. This is how we navigate the dating market. When I see this woman with her Monday rant, I immediately understand that, she's clearly probably been on the market for quite a while. She's a 50-year-old post-wall divorcee on TikTok ranting about men being quote-unquote undecisive. At the age of 50, when I was growing up, if you would have told me that 50-year-olds are actively dating and don't know how to, rummage through the leftovers to find someone that's suitable to get into a long-term companionship with, I'm sorry, at 19, 18, I wouldn't have saw that. I wouldn't have seen that. Like, even with being raised by a mother that was divorced, like, I just never saw her out and about at the age of 50 putting herself out there like a 29-year-old that's looking to be married. The reality is, and I say this all the time, people like this are delusional. I'm not a hater. I'm gonna be honest. Like, from the first glance, looking at the camera view, she looks like a decent woman. You can tell she has some age to her. Hispanic women, Latin women, they usually age pretty well. Don't have to go crazy with makeup, but they age pretty well. I can't see her body. I can't see how highly desirable she is. You always have to understand, and you always have to pay attention to the fact that the market is what the market is. If you are a 50-year-old woman, dating apps or not, if you are a 50-year-old overweight woman, possibly, or you're just not that attractive, if you're going against the market of women that are way more attractive than you, way more desirable than you, at that point, whatever you get is what you get. It's like, you don't have to accept it. You can be in denial, but a lot of your aura, a lot of your presentation is going to acquire a certain type of attention. And she's saying men over 40, which means, in my opinion, that's really her luck. She's probably one of those people like, oh, I don't want to play with a guy that's, playing games. A woman in her 50s is not going to date or look at dating a dude that's 33, 34. Because a dude that's 33, 34 is creeping into his primes as far as physicality goes. He's probably, because once again, this is a red pill gem in my opinion. Men age like fine wine, women age like spoiled milk. Women age like milk. You get what I'm saying? That's not always the case. Some men don't age the best, but one thing that does age with a lot of men very well is their financial stability, depending on if they weren't divorce raped or paying alimony or paying child support. Most single men in their mid-30s creeping into their 40s, if they haven't been scarred, like externally scarred by a breakup, then as they creep into their 40s, they're getting better and better off, better off financially. And a 50-year-old woman knows that. That's why her ballpark is, I'm dealing with dudes over 40. Because at this point, she's probably not even concerned about if a guy is balding or getting chubby. She's just making sure that this guy can take care of her. And 9 times out of 10, most of her rant comes from the fact that most dudes after the age of 40 dealing with a 50-year-old post-war divorcee, they just trying to smash. They have no reason to look at this woman who is older than them and be like, oh, I'm going to take care of this woman for the rest of her life and I want to marry her. No, a dude that's 43, 44 years old can still land a hot middle-aged woman. Like, although she may, a 40-year-old dude is fully capable of, at times, getting a 27-year-old right out of college, single woman with no kids, and is not as scarred and jaded as a 50-year-old. So long story short, I look at women like this and like, what are you looking for at the age of 50? You've already been in a marriage for 18 years. You got married in your primes. Because more than likely, if she was married and divorced in her early 40s, and she said she was married for 18 years, that means she got married in her early 20s or mid 20s. And we all know in the red pill community that is a hot age for a woman. Who knows how old her husband was? But long story short, this woman was married 26, 27, and she didn't get to ride the carousel as long as she wanted to ride it, most likely. That's probably what led to her getting divorced. That's fine. Now she left her husband and was divorced, and now she's on the market trying to go up against the same type of women or the same type of woman that she was when she got married. See, women don't pay attention to these things. Your average woman is probably getting married before 30, once again, when they're in their primes. So a 50-year-old post-war divorcee that's trying to go up against a woman that probably looked like her, because looking at her, she probably looked real good when she was in her mid-20s. So when you think about that, you have to remove the delusion. You have to, women, this is for you, women, you have to pay attention to the fact that you receive the most attention before, let's say, the age of 33, 32. That's when you were receiving the most attention from the guys that you probably would consider the Chads and Tyrones, the hotter guys. And that's when you were just on the carousel. You may have lucked up before then and got with a guy that was, in that 20 percentile. You married him, and your friends that were single or so on and so forth, and you just looking at the dating market, you're not appreciating what you have. You didn't realize that the grass is greener where you water it, and now you're divorced. Probably multiple kids. And once again, you get out on the market thinking to yourself, I'm that same 25-year-old girl, that same 25-year-old woman that was attracting all this attention, not realizing, like, no, the reason that you got your husband probably was because you were fucking hot. And the reason you decided to marry him is because he was hot and he had his shit together. Like, women are not trying to marry guys that don't have their shit together. So, once again, what you're looking for, you're probably not going to get based on the fact that men out there that are aware, that are socially aware to what they can get, they're not going to want to settle with you. You are already divorced. You are already in an 18-year marriage. You already probably have child baggage. Like, you're not highly desirable. So this Monday rant to me is hilarious because it just drills home one important thing, and that is women do not accept reality. They just don't. They just don't. Women, you're highly desired in your primes. That's when guys are getting on that's when they're bending down to their knee for you. Once you pass your prime, of course you're going to be dealing with games. Because, in all honesty, men don't really want you. They just want you as a kind of a pump and dump. And that's 70-80% of the time. It's only going to be that small fraction of guys out there that have their shit together, that you would consider a high value male, or even a high status, whatever you want to call these guys. High value men don't want old washed up women. Like, I mean, I hate to say it, but a high value man is going to go after the hottie, because a high value man doesn't mind dating down financially, but he definitely is not going to date down when it comes to, the beauty of a woman. Once again, these high status men will go into a Target, see a hot cashier. If she's of legal age, that high status man will go after that woman, because that high status man, he's looking for something that is young, sexy, and fertile. He's not looking for an old, washed up woman. And that's not being mean. That's just how they perceive it. It may sound mean, but it's a fact. It's only the blue pill simps that are probably down on their luck. If they truly have their stuff together and they're looking at a 50-year-old, I mean, I'm sorry. Like, it's just not, I don't see it. Maybe she may get lucky with a 55 or 60-year-old, but if she still feels young and active, and she expects that, I can still land, a hot 38, 39, 42-year-old guy, like, I'm sorry, like, that's less likely to happen at 50. And I know when it happens, you're going to be like, oh, finally, and this is how it should have always been. But that's not true. It's just not true. Like, accept reality. Stop looking at these TV shows and these movies that have you thinking that when you're a cougar, you're going to be able to land freaking Morris Chestnut at 30, or freaking Brad Pitt, in his prime. Like, that's not reality. Tune in to reality. Turn off your television, step outside, and observe the world for what it is. And once you do, you'll realize that the leftover woman, the old washed up woman, the high value man, you're not on the high value man's radar. I'll say it again. The high value man's radar is fixed in on the hottie, not the leftover woman, not the woman that is washed up, 50 years old, divorced, on TikTok. You're not on their radar. I'm sorry. There's no other way to say it. Look, I hope you enjoyed this video. Rate, comment, and subscribe. And until we meet again.